It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts, Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Get in the van. We're doing from our Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith. That is Alan Saunders. Alan, new week. How we feeling?
Feeling good. Feeling good. Back to work. Back at the South Side today, and football.
I have moved on from Thursday's game against Cincinnati. Curious as to if the players have and the vibe that you got coming out of the locker room. I feel like they got to turn the page much quicker than the fans even do. So curious as to what the vibe was like coming out of there.
I think the offense has.
Okay.
The offense,
and I'm not saying that like
little to feel bad about.
Sure.
Comparatively.
Yes. And when I say turn the page, obviously, I think that that's still going to sting. And I think when you have that type of performance, it should, kind of going back to the discussion from last year when they just got bullied on the ground down the stretch and just a deflating way to lose in the playoffs, giving up nearly 300 rushing yards or whatever it was. Like, those things should sting. This loss against Cincinnati should sting, but you got to understand there's another game now coming up on Sunday. So when I say turn the page, I don't necessarily mean forget about that performance. Like, you got to wear that one, but also you got to get ready to play again.
They do. And I agree that I think the offense is there. And I think the defense is pissed off.
Okay.
There's like I don't get the sense they want to get over it.
Okay, well, that's what I meant by maybe wearing it then as well. You know,
I kind of feel like they're like still in their shoulder pads from Thursday night. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want to lose that feeling. I think they want to keep it. And
was there anybody specifically that said anything or kind of gave that energy that makes you feel that way, or just like kind of the morale in general? Like what makes you say that though to begin with?
I don't know if it's one thing specifically. It was just, the general sense of the morale. Talked to Patrick Queen for a little bit about what he felt like went wrong. You know, it's
okay.
You're never going to get anything out of that conversation. I didn't want to start it. Somebody else did, so I jumped in. Amusingly, we had the question about the cameras the other day.
Yeah.
And in that scrum, somehow I got in between the WTAE cameraman and Ashley Leota. So I had Ashley like in front of my face and then the WTAE cameraman over my shoulder. So it was just a Channel 4 sandwich over here.
Where do I go here? Yeah.
That was just the vibe I was picking up. I didn't talk to a lot of defensive players. I did go over and give Joey Porter Jr. a ribbing about the North Allegheny football game. Did you see that score?
No.
North Allegheny, if you guys are not familiar with Western Pennsylvania high school football, Joey's an alum. One of the best programs in the area, and sort of a regular powerhouse. And Pine Richland is their kind of rival in the North Hills. Another really good team. Beat them 67-0 on Friday.
Ooh. What was Neil Walker back in pads? What in the world happened there?
I don't know. So I just went over to give Joey a hard time because that's,
Nick Faribault would have to play into that as well. Another North A.
I had already texted Faribault my giving a hard time. Did it to Joey in person. And he said he was there. I was watching on the sideline. He was like, we just no speed, couldn't keep up. And there was nothing else said there, but it was kind of like a PTSD dog situation. You know what I mean? Like you could just kind of tell, like, yeah.
Didn't have the answers to cover them on that day, huh?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. Well, you mentioned on the defensive side there, but I know Broderick and Troy talked today as well. I mean, the Broderick thing was just amusing, I guess. I know that some people were like legitimately mad by his answer, but very clearly like was taken in jest.
People were mad about that.
I was looking at some of the replies, especially like to the one that Pony put out. And maybe it's just because the energy that he gives off anytime that he posts about anything. So like people were just going to always reply negatively to that. But yeah, like I saw legitimately people were like, well, he better not do it again or whatever. Like he better learn his lesson and not even like get near Rod. Like, yeah. So people were like actually legitimately upset about it.
Well, I kind of hope he does it again. I mean, like, maybe Aaron will know it's coming this time, but I kind of hope he does.
Yeah, maybe give him a heads up. I don't know. I mean, not on the blind side. Maybe like attack him front on.
Maybe he should just yell and then chase him, like he's trying to tackle him, and then give him a get ready or not, here I come, kind of situation.
You remember the hide and seek celebration that they did in 2000, whatever.
Oh yeah.
It wouldn't have been 18, 17 maybe. I don't remember. Juju was still here. Le'Veon was here. AB was here. So like it was
17 or 18.
Yeah. Against Cincinnati, they did like the hide and seek celebration. That's what we need. We need Aaron to hide from Broderick and then him find him.
Or the rest of the offensive line tackle Broderick to keep him from tackling Aaron Rodgers. They'll be done with that too.
Yeah. Did those guys have anything else to say though? Like actually?
Yeah, I mean, people were asking Broderick, and I think those guys played really well. So it makes sense. Troy, I think in particular, had the best game of his life. I don't think that if you didn't know Shamar Stewart was on the Cincinnati Bengals, you still don't. That's basically the way that game went for him. About as well as it could have. Broderick, I mean, he'd have the penalty, which you hate to see, but I mean, if that's all you got to say about an offensive lineman, that's pretty darn good. I thought they ran well off both sides, left and right. I thought they pass protected well. Aaron had a ton of time. First time we've seen him be the quarterback with the time to throw. It was crazy. Flacco was the one that was just flinging it as soon as he caught the ball, and Rodgers was kind of running around back there. It was interesting.
Yeah, I am curious. I'd have to look into that, like if that's been adjusted, the time to throw, and how different it looks now. Excuse me.
It was 2.9 seconds. 2.9 was his time to throw against the Bengals, which definitely had. I mean, he's still the third shortest in the league this year, but it's not like he's like running away with it number one like he was before.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll tell you what is also very interesting. Just took a look at the stats today, like trying to get a gauge for where Aaron Rodgers is, like where, and that I did look up the time to throw, but just happened to peruse over the passer rating, which I think is a stat that, it's not perfect, but generally,
I'll say passer rating over quarterback rating.
Yeah, I agree. Quarterback rating, at least it's attempting to do something in terms of encapsulating the rushing impact of a quarterback, but I feel like it mostly just rewards people on good teams and punishes people on bad teams. But anyway, there's Aaron Rodgers 105, right behind him in the league stats. Josh Allen 103, Patrick Mahomes 102. Thought that was interesting.
Yeah, but we still haven't talked about the big. What's his PFF? What's he rated out about? Is he still in the 30s?
I used to think the PFF quarterback ratings were like one of the better things they did, and I just feel like they've completely sold themselves with this ridiculousness with Rodgers this year. I don't even see him.
Nice. Yeah, I was still wondering. Was wondering if he cracked the
35th in PFF.
Oh wow. Okay, so jump from 37.
Now, if we do like a minimum, let's say we do like just starters only here. 23rd among only starters.
Okay, I was gonna say because guys will throw like two passes, and they qualify for them. But
23rd among just starters, just behind Justin Fields, who was benched by the New York Jets over the weekend. So there you go.
I don't remember who it was, but somebody in the comments was fascinated by this. So I guess that we can update this every time the information becomes available to me. This Ray Carpenter has put out this EPA per gap stuff. I don't know if you've seen this. I mentioned it one time on here as well. So obviously there's 6 gaps to go based off of here, and the Steelers are successful.
Unless you're the Steelers when they have 8 gaps.
Yes. But these numbers have continued to go in a positive direction since this first started being put out, or at least since I first started paying attention to it. Actually, the most successful gap that the Steelers are running backs are running between right now is between Broderick and Isaac Seumalo, between the left tackle and left guard, at least on an EPA per play basis at 0.168.
There you go. I think Broderick and Troy are both playing very well. And I think the interior guys are playing well. Really, the 3 penalties is kind of all you can ding the offensive line for in that game. I mean, I don't know what else you want to nitpick about, in terms of their performance. I thought it was extremely good.
Mm-hmm. Nice to see those guys in a positive direction. I think the same would be said. I mentioned Roman Wilson, and I forgot about the longer catch that he had in that game that was taken back by penalty, because I was surprised when he said he only had 2 catches in that game. So yeah, only 2 catches for 17 yards on the stat sheet. But somebody actually DM'd me a question. Josh, who I think we just mentioned last week, had asked S1, had said, do we think that they've seen enough, seen that his snaps increased in this one over Scotty Miller, with Roman playing over 30 snaps in this one, to continue to have a role going forward, even with Calvin getting back into the fold, or do we think that we see him go back in the other direction?
I mean, I think you'll see a reduction from where he's been recently when Calvin comes back. I do think he's playing well. I don't think there's ever been a lack of confidence that he could do the job that he's been doing. It's just that he's not, I was on the Fan on Sunday with Josh Roundtree, and I made a point there that I'm not sure I made here, so I'm going to make it again.
Okay.
If the Steelers knew that Calvin Austin was going to become what Calvin Austin had become, they would have never drafted Roman Wilson. Like, they are too similar in terms of their skill sets and abilities. And a lot of the other things that Wilson does that Austin doesn't do, in terms of his size, his blocking, his physicality, are also absorbed by DK Metcalf. And the fact they're playing 5 tight ends. So there's just nothing for him to do where he's the best option to do it. And it's not really his fault. And I don't think it reflects a lack of faith in him. It just is the situation that it is. If when Nick Faribault was in the company, he was a very good podcaster. He just wasn't one of our best 2 podcasters. He goes to Penn Live. He's the number 1 podcaster. He gets a better opportunity. He's doing very well for himself over there. We always knew he could do it. When I was out, he stepped up. He did just fine, but there was just no day-to-day opportunity.
I love the comparison. I'll be honest, even when Roman wasn't getting the ball, and you could say this about any receiver. If you go back and watch the tape, there are times where you say, that guy played pretty well. He did his job. He just wasn't getting the ball. I don't know that I was saying that about Roman the entire way, though. I thought Thursday he actually did play very well, and also got a couple opportunities to show for it as well. I guess what I'm saying is I thought the tape also was pretty good from Thursday,
which he has not been doing as well. I thought he was good against Cleveland too. I thought that was 2 games in a row where I felt like he really did a nice job all the way around.
Okay. Yeah. Kind of playing into that, obviously getting Calvin back in the fold. This is going to go on until we get to the trade deadline, I'm sure, but there's going to continue to be conversation about adding a wide receiver. I know it wasn't too long ago that you did a morning rush kind of talking about hey, this team, you got an opportunity in front of you if you feel like you need to add something to this offense, given such a unique opportunity with the amount of time that Lamar missed. Burrow's still going to miss a significant portion the rest of the way as well. Do you still feel like that's the case? And I guess kind of following up on that, do you feel like there's they don't want obviously to give up any capital, but do you think that they're even going to add somebody because knowing that they're going to have to give up that capital?
Well, and the comp pick formula keeps taking hits.
Yes.
Fields benching won't help that any. Putting their 4th round pick in jeopardy there. Their 5th is already on thin ice. may end up not getting what they thought they were going to get out of that group. Dan Moore is their 3rd round pick. Still looks like he's in pretty good shape. I think if they can find a player that will be here for more than 1 year, it still makes sense. Because if you look at it, it's like, okay, no matter what they trade up, no matter what they use to trade up next year, they still got to draft a wide receiver, right? Like no matter, like they're gonna use all their picks, right? No matter what they do, they got to trade up to get a quarterback. Yeah, they're also going to want to draft a wide receiver. Well, so if you trade one of those picks for a player who just is that wide receiver, then all you're doing is just cutting the line a little bit. You're just bringing in somebody now who is a player that will be here for, the rest of this year and help you take advantage of this strange opportunity that the division has presented to you, but also have that player be in place so that you're bringing in a rookie quarterback with like a full complement of weapons and not the sort of half-cocked thing they've had for the last 2 seasons. So I think that makes a lot of sense. A pure rental?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe at the very low level, like maybe another Mike Williams, like something like that. Where you
which is like Lazard, Brandin Cooks.
Yeah, right.
Lockett.
It's 6th, it's a 7th, it's a conditional pick, it's a swap, whatever. Yeah, fine. If you're talking about assets, I think it has to be like real assets. Like talking about trading the 3rd round pick, I think it's got to be somebody who's going to stick around for a while, and that you think you want to be a part of the future with a rookie quarterback and beyond. So somebody a little bit younger, somebody with some contract term, or with somebody you think you can make a deal with on an extension.
Yeah, like Rashid Shaheed was the one that was thrown out last week in that ESPN article by Bill Barnwell. And I was confused by the compensation because I'm just thinking, like, if that's all it's taken, I think there's going to be other suitors, but it was just a 4th round pick and then Shaheed in a 5th coming back. So really a pick swap. And I think, the Steelers aren't necessarily in there in the same draft year as well. They're both in 2026. So it's like interesting to me that would be the case. I can't imagine it would be the case, but I think the Steelers would definitely sign up for that. You're not losing the quantity of pick there whatsoever. You're just moving back around with that one. I don't know. I have a hard time thinking that. And I have a hard time thinking like that they're, because of what we're talking about with the picks and being close to the vest with them and everything like that, that they're going to win any, player that there is like a bidding war, if you will, for.
Yeah, I agree with that. She'd also cheap. Cap hit for the year, $4.45 million. I mean, at least like you're talking about Jacoby Myers, like you have to deal with the fact that like you're paying him whatever the remainder of over $10 million is. Shaheed, basically nothing. A couple million.
Yeah, so I think that one's plausible. I almost feel like there is like a safety.
But both
net,
of those guys are on expiring deals, for the record.
Yeah,
neither of those guys is someone that you would think right now anyway. Now, look, maybe you talk to their agent, you get a sense, maybe you can work something out. But right now, both those guys scheduled to be rentals if they're traded at the deadline.
That's why I just still feel like, one of those older guys that I just brought up, the Lazards, Brandin Cooks, Tyler Lockett, well, they don't necessarily do much for me. Like, I think that that's kind of like the fallback option, if you will, if they don't work something out that is more substantial, like a Shaheed or a Jacoby Myers. I'm not going to entertain the Jalen Waddle stuff. I'm not going to, I mean, even it was put out there that the Saints and Olave were working on an extension. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Another one I just don't see happening. So, is what it is. But yeah, all right, good stuff there on the wide receiver front. We got some other questions here from the YouTube community. This one's related to comp picks from Gino here, so we'll touch on this. Said, any concern about getting a quarterback at this point with the comp picks seemingly drying up?
No concern about getting a quarterback. No. Those
comp picks weren't about the quarterback necessarily, right? I mean,
it just allows you to trade all the rest. It's like, well, we could trade our 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then there's a 3rd, 4th, 5th waiting there, right? Like that's, I mean, yeah, that 3rd round comp pick's valuable, and they still have that. If I don't think their deal ever hinged on a 4th round comp pick. It's just about making sure you're able to fill out the rest of your draft class while you trade a bunch of picks to move up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're using, next year's first or whatever as well in a day 2 pick at some point,
they'll do that. I can see them trading next year's 2nd. I don't think they'll trade next year's first. I could be wrong, but I don't get that sense.
Meaning the willingness to do so, or you don't think the class will require it? happening. Okay.
Both, yeah. But I don't think they'd really want to trade their 27 first unless they really felt like they had to, but I don't think they will have to.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is a topic worth bringing up now and attaching to it. Checking in, I guess, kind of with what's going on in the college football landscape and kind of following the tea leaves with where they've been scouting. Do you get a sense there maybe is a guy right now that you feel like they do maybe like a little bit more than the others, or you're noticing that they're noticing more?
I think they've been in on Fernando Mendoza for a while. I also think he's QB1 right now, so
Yeah,
probably not happening. They went to see Dante Moore for the second time this weekend. They've seen Ty Simpson twice. They've seen Neusmeyer multiple times, Mateer multiple times, Klubnik multiple times, Aller multiple times, Beck multiple times.
Look, not great for Fajodo being on here Tuesday. You talking him up, and then the first game he plays afterwards, 4 interceptions. But
Sam Levitt had a good week coming back.
Sam Levitt's another that I've seen. I feel like the Steelers have seen quite a bit, and Andy Weidl's been at like practices. Is there some connection there beyond the Steelers maybe being interested in him? Because it just seems odd that like there's pictures of like Andy Weidl like at ASU practices and stuff, like pictures next to Levitt, and I'm like, is there some type of connection that I don't know about here? That
I think there is.
Okay.
And now I can't remember what it is. Shoot.
Okay.
I do think there is some kind of connect. Oh, Hines Ward. Hines Ward's a wide receivers coach.
Okay. All right. Oh, so he's coaching up one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in the country there at ASU, and Jordan Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a player. All right. Well, this one's a bit longer, so stick with me here for a second, but it talked us up, so we got to absolutely bring this up. Mr. Moss 79 said, got to start with the honorary tip of the cap for the unique blend of analysis and fan therapy. He talked me off a bit of a cliff, if you will, after the tough loss on Thursday. Even worse, my little brother's a Bengals fan. I think it started off just as to mess with me, but actually somehow got to the point where he actually liked them. Yeah, that's a tough look.
We got to work on these families here, folks. We can't be letting this happen.
Yeah, I wonder what that Thanksgiving's like. Smitty and Alan both had me cracking up at times at the post-game reactions to the comments from the fans. I'm wondering if an upcoming podcast you could talk about Darius Slay a bit. I remember reading that he was actually quite good in Philadelphia, even at the end of the year, was still taking on number 1 assignments. From what you see on film, is the discrepancy between him and the play here, the way that he's being used, or the scheme that he's playing in, or do you feel like Father Time has just hit him, being that he's already been over that 30-year-old cliff? No decline for corners can be perceptuous. But holy crap, feel like it's fallen off a cliff and hasn't been gradual at all for him. Thanks for the best podcast out there.
I mean, you do that. It's probably
start and end. I mean, it's not quite the way that, Ken signs on and signs off of his comments, but when you sign on and sign off, talking up the show. Yeah.
So, the Eagles run a lot of cover 6, which is quarter, half, a lot of quarters. And then they run a lot of cover 3 and a lot of cover 1, which the Steelers do as well. Their rates at cover 3 and cover 1 are fairly similar. The difference is the Steelers run cover 2 other than that, and the Eagles run the other stuff, cover 6 and cover 4. I think Darius Slay, look, can he play man? Yeah. Against the Browns, against the Ravens, against teams that don't have 2 dynamic wide receivers. Can he play man against the Bengals? No. In fact, he couldn't even play man against Yoshivas.
Yeah.
This is a bad game for Darius Slay. I got no other way to say it. The touchdown to Noah Fant. T. Higgins just sends him into orbit. 2 steps, pop, flying. Not good. Not good. Not what you want to see. but I don't think he's unplayable either. I just think not capable of doing the job the Steelers necessarily thought he was going to be. And that's a problem. It very much reminds me of what we saw with Patrick Peterson and what we saw with Dante Jackson, where you can play with them, but it's going to have to be bending your defense to their strengths, as opposed to kind of the Swiss Army knife, do it all chess piece that you can use however you want to. And that's less than ideal.
Yeah, I think for me, the difference between him and what, the other two that you brought up there, and Patrick Peterson and Dante Jackson, like Dante Jackson was a zone heavy corner. Patrick Peterson, I feel like the last year in Minnesota very clearly was different than the previous defenses he played in. He got a lot of interceptions because of that. But I kind of expected those to be the results with the transition to what the Steelers were doing. It was kind of like, okay, we're cutting the field in half. We obviously know what Joey can do. Or what we want him to be able to do is like a press man corner. That's probably where he's going to be best. Try to learn some of the zone stuff. But like the other guy is a zone heavy corner that plays better in that role. With Darius, I feel like coming from Philly, I was hoping that there wouldn't be a lot of that being the case, where he would be like a Dante Jackson or a Patrick Peterson. And the Steelers clearly, I think, thought the same thing. I think that the question now is, yes, it's a problem. No, I don't think he's unplayable. But at least in my opinion, not sure where you stand on this. I'm not saying it has to be like a full-on like transition here or anything like that. But I do think that there is a guy in Brandin Echols in waiting that's, chomping at the bit to potentially get more reps there. And I'm curious what that would look like.
That's part of it. I think, when I look at what they've done, I think more quarters, which is something that we talked about this offseason as being a potential answer for them, is a way that they can both play to more of Slay's strengths while still getting some of what they hope to get out of Joey Porter. Although, like, there's a big miss in quarters in this game against the Bengals from Porter. It's just, yeah, I mean,
well, what have you made of Slay's tackling, his ability in the run
I
game?
knew it wasn't going to be great, and I think it's been about as good as I expected it to be. I mean, I don't think it's been like unplayable.
But I guess that would be a big part if you wanted him to do some safety stuff, or hoping that he could. I don't think he would have to play in the slot, just because like Echols could obviously do that if he's going to be on the field.
I would be interested to see what Darius Slay at safety looks like. I mean, Patrick Peterson did okay there. Tackling probably would be the thing that would come up. But if you're only doing it in like obvious passing situations, does that really matter? I mean, not that much.
Yeah,
I'd be interested in that. It also just depends on what you're doing defensively with your I think, yeah, I just think it's, yeah. I mean, they've played every defense there is, like so much to the point that like if you look at the coverage chart, like they have no box that's like the dark color.
Like a lot more than they normally do. Yeah,
because they're so spread out everywhere. And like I laugh at the like, oh, they knew what we were gonna do. I was like, no, they didn't. I mean, maybe they kind of had an idea what the approach was gonna be, like what they wanted to do. Steelers run man about 35% of the time. That's top maybe 5 or 6 in the league, 6 or 7, somewhere in there. Like you kind of knew. And when they're not in man, they're probably in cover 3 about another half the time. So you can figure on like a third or their snaps being either cover 3 or some kind of man coverage. But like they've been doing a lot of stuff. And I don't know. I'm not quite sure why they haven't found something that works better than what they've been doing. Because I mean, yes, the Bengals are a unique challenge, but like they didn't cover the Jets very well. Like they didn't cover the Patriots very well. And those are 2 bad groups of receivers.
Yeah.
And so
it was largely Hunter Henry against the Patriots, which not take anything away from him. He's a good tight end, but
yeah,
I mean, Yeah.
And like somehow the other thing here is that like somehow they're not even that bad in pass defense. Like they could be so much worse than they've been. Like considering what's happened, like you would think the game they just had, like, oh, the Steelers would be like number one, you know, like they're 10th in yards against, but I think they're like maybe have the 10th best EPA per dropback because of the sacks. You know, so like when you take the pass defense as a totality, like they're not that awful.
Which I think is, a big conversation piece. If this defense isn't taking the ball away or creating negative plays with sacks,
it can't win. That's why what happened on Thursday happened, because when the coverage can't hold up for long enough to keep Flacco from throwing the ball the second his back foot hits the ground, 2.4 seconds to throw, you can't get pressure, which means you can't get sacks. Most of your turnovers come from pressure. Guys throwing on the run, missing reads, tip passes, all those things happen from pressure. The whole design of this defense is to get the ball. The yards don't matter. We've talked about that a lot. It's a good design. I agree with that approach. It makes sense. It does not make sense if you can't cover for 2.4 seconds. If you have guys running wide open in 2.4 seconds, it is never going to work. So they need.
You're certainly not getting the sacks in that case, and you're going to need somebody to probably tip the ball at the line of scrimmage to have hope of a turnover.
Oh yeah, or like a wide receiver to bobble a ball, or something like the Metcalf play where just rip it out of his hands. Yeah, so they got to come up with an answer here. I don't know what it is. Nothing they did seemed to work. I think more two-man is interesting to me if you can stop the run out of it, which has also been a struggle and an issue, is that you're not going to be very good in pass anything when you're dealing with 3rd and 3 and 3rd and 2 and like if you're not.
Is that still a concern for you? Because it seemed like the run defense had taken a step forward, and then
they gave up some big plays against the Bengals, but they weren't getting beaten down in and down out, if that makes sense. Like it's not like they were getting crushed like 4 or 5 yards every time they got the ball. They just ripped off a couple of long runs that I don't want to excuse. They can't happen, and they certainly have an impact on the game. But I don't think they're not as impactful to the passing defense as like giving up 4 or 5 yards of carry every down all game long.
And I also, maybe it's just because I was so focused on the pass defense and certainly noticed a couple long explosive runs and stuff like that. I think I'd be more concerned if they were like straight up the middle and I felt like the interior of the defense was getting gashed. A lot of those were to the outside. And I think what we just talked about with the secondary having issues just in this game in general, and the linebacking play I didn't think was very good in this one. I put that more on those guys. Like I don't think it was a game where we were seeing like, Cam Hayward, Derek Harmon, Keanu Benton just get bullied in the trenches. And that's why the run game was so efficient.
I did see Keanu Benton get tackled on a big run. That happened. Yeah, I think it was guys getting out of gaps trying to make plays. You start pressing. You're not getting home in the pass rush. And Terrell Austin starts pressing, starts calling more blitzes. If you run out of blitz, it's going to go very badly. But if you happen to run away from a blitz, there's nobody left to defend, right? I mean, like you call a run away from a blitz, that's a gimme. And then you get guys trying to get out of themselves and make a play. They're trying so hard to get to the passer that they're getting out of rush lanes at the same time. And I think we saw a little bit of that from Nick Herbig. I think we saw a little bit of that from Peyton Wilson. And not that those like individual plays are devastating, but like it all adds up.
Absolutely. All right. Good stuff already. Well past 30 minutes here. A lot of questions still to get to. Keep those coming, by the way, in the comments. And to wrap up here, special shout out to Brendan Howe. 1 year Pittsburgh Steelers now, as I saw him put out a tweet earlier. So happy 1 year here, Brendan. We appreciate everything that you do, your appearances on the pod. all of that. But Alan, tell the people they can find you.
Hey, Saunders _PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now site account SteelersNow.com. Go there, read the words so I can get paid. Sign up for SN Plus. We'll be having our subscribers only live stream for the month of October as soon as we figure out when we're going to have it. But that will be coming up because we only got about 11 days remaining. So we'll get together with the old DB, figure out when we can do that.
Literally old.
And by the old, I mean like the youngest of the three of us. And then like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel as we continue to try to grow this channel and this show and all the rest of our shows to bigger and bigger audiences. We have 16,887. Smitty, I have a GOAT answer for this, so I'm just gonna pass. I'm gonna allow you to have that with 87.
Oh boy, 87. I think Kevin Rader is probably the one I used last time.
That is a really good one.
Yeah. Hot Rod was 87.
Hot Rod's also a really good one.
I feel like I'm missing probably like another tight. It's got to be a tight end, right?
We've definitely had this one before. And I think I gave the same name. Now I'm feeling bad.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the only two I can think of right now.
Several tight ends from the 90s, including Mark Bruner, who's is now on the team.
Yeah.
Adrian Cooper, who was a very good tight end, and Craig Keith, I want to say, might have been 87, or was he 85? Nah, he was 85. There's another one in there from the 90s though, and then Ouija Thompson is
it lists Craig Keith on Pro Football Reference 1994.
Okay,
I don't know if that's accurate, but
Ouija Thompson was a wide receiver. He was tall. He was not particularly good, but he was on the team for most of the 80s, and just a great name.
6'6".
Ouija Thompson, yeah. That's, I mean, when you're like 4 years old, like the fact that there's a guy named Ouija is just hilarious, and like that's immediately a favorite.
Yeah, that's a sick name. All right, let us know your favorite 87. I mean, if you're also a Penguins fan, I think your mind goes elsewhere, obviously, with this number, but we stick to the Steelers on here. So let us know in the comments. Also, any questions that you might have for a future episode, thoughts about what we talked about today, feel free to drop any of that down below. If you're listening somewhere else, Apple, Spotify, wherever your podcast from, we are there. Just search through His Afternoon Drive while you're there. Drop us a 5-star review. Make sure that you're subscribed as well so you get notifications over there. Do the same thing on TikTok, and then you'll find me everywhere. Zachary Smith, PGH. Found Saunders and myself. Thanks for jumping in. Take another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.